Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out.
And let's talk about what lessons we found.
Let's hang out.
And let's listen to two lesbians shout.
Let's hang out.
Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Les Hang Out, the podcast that wants to know, when she said it was too much, do you wish you could still touch her? It's just a question. But the Swifties, the Gaylors are going wild right now, no one else. Anyways, from the West Coast, I'm Leo Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those of you who've been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. And we want to let you all know that our Croatia trip is officially confirmed. We have hit the first 10 spots. We have gotten all of our early bird spots filled. But we do also have a very generous Patreon supporter who has offered to cover the extra $100 for the next 4 people who sign up for our Croatia trip. So you still get the early bird pricing, which is amazing.
You know how we say all the time, we have the best patrons? We have the best patrons, that's all.
We really do. So if you are one of the next 4 people, so we have 14 early bird spots, technically, to sign up, please let us know. We will figure out how to get that additional $100 credit back to you. But we have 18 spots total. So 8 more spots left, 4 more early bird for Croatia. You can get that at bit.ly/LesDoCroatia.
We also want to remind everyone in season 6, we have bonus episodes for our super amazing Patreon supporters that you can get at any level of Patreon support. 5 of them are out so far. Our last one was on Chasing Amy. Our next one, coming out in 2 weeks from this episode release, will be on Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So if you want to catch all of the ones that we have released so far, or join in time for our next episode, you can do that at bit.ly/LesPatreon.
Also, quick shout out to some of our patrons who commented on our bonus episode. I feel like we've had some really good discussion about this movie in particular, Chasing Amy.
About Chasing Amy?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
we did.
Oh, yes. If you want to join us for our Should Have Been Gay live episode 100, how crazy is that? That is coming up. We have 2 special guests, Devin Hales and Bethany Brown. It's going to be on January 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. You can get your tickets at bit.ly/SBG100live.
I'm so excited.
I'm
I can't
so
even wait.
excited.
In the Greater Les universe, listen, there's a couple things going on these days. First of all, Republicans are losing their minds over the gay M&Ms. The all-female M&M bag featuring... Isn't it the green? Is the green M&M a lesbian now?
Yes, but
Yes.
has always been a lesbian. Let's be real.
Sure.
Should have been gay. M&Ms.
Should have been gay. That's what we're doing for our Should Have Been Gay 100. M&Ms. It's all M&Ms, bitches. Buckle up. Yeah, no. There's always something so funny about, watching the same people who are like, snowflakes with your safe spaces, like lose their minds over like an M&M's bag. I'm like, they're tiny pieces of chocolate. They can't really hurt you. You're okay.
I love it. Also, they have a purple M&M that is supposed to represent plus size body positivity. So
incredible.
I want this bag of M&Ms.
Kelsey would love this bag of M&Ms because she won't eat the blue M&Ms. So this bag is like a dream come true.
It is. This episode of Let's Hang Out sponsored by the lesbian M&Ms. In other news, Ginny and Georgia season 2 just came out. We have an openly queer character who is great. I was telling Lee before we were recording that I love and hate Ginny and Georgia. So any of you out there who have similar feelings would love to chat. In love with Georgia, meh about Ginny.
Amazing. Also in the Greater Liz universe, things that are relevant to our interests. Number 1, Yellow Jackets. Number 2, Nicole Maines. Number 3, Nicole Maines on Yellow Jackets.
I'm so excited. Like, what
I'm
a
very
great
excited.
casting announcement. And I'm just
Yeah.
really excited for season 2 of Yellow Jackets. Like, pump it into my veins.
Listen, between the Nicole Maines announcement, the Elijah Wood announcement, whenever they announced the adult Van casting, like, this season looks like it's gonna be so fucking dope. I can't even stand it.
Cannot wait. When is
Yeah.
it coming out? In March, right? March 26th.
Yeah.
We will be there for it. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you episode 11 of season 6, Finding Your Herd.
You're
Get
killing
it?
these her puns
Get
today.
what I did there?
Oh, I got
Did
I
you,
got it.
Did you see it? That's right. We are joined by a very special guest today. We have Jill O'Sullivan, who's the community manager and the event host for the app Her, aiming to help every queer person find love and community. Jill, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate the puns. That is 90% of my
good.
job. It's an endorsable skill on my LinkedIn.
You can do that? Oh my god, I need to put that on my LinkedIn.
There's like many levels you can do on LinkedIn. What's the highest level of a skill you can do? You know what I mean? Like proficient, advanced, but there has to be like another level besides that. And that's what you are in puns. Master. I don't know.
One of my coworkers said it as a joke, and I went to type it in thinking I was going to be funny, and it popped up after like 2 letters. It was like puns, and I was like, oh,
Incredible.
I have someone to dethrone.
I'm gonna strongly consider adding that to my LinkedIn. That would serve me well, I think, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, anyone would be happy to have you on their team.
Yeah.
Pun master. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Incredible. Well, Jill, thank you for hanging out with us. It's going to be a very fun conversation. First, why don't you tell us, I'm sure most of our listeners have heard of Her, capital H-E-R, but why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about Her, the app, what it does, what you do at Her, all that fun stuff.
Sure thing. So, Her is a dating app and social community for queer folks. Our goal is to help every queer person in the world find their person, find their group, find their herd,
Yes.
and get that. We'll make it happen. It's fine. And we have like the dating section of our app, which is sort of what people go in expecting. You go for the swipes, you stay for the community. We have a forum with about 30 communities, different hobbies, activities, identities, expressions, where you can post sort of Facebook style and socialize that way as well. I am the community manager at Her, which means it is my job to help you find those people, to post engaging content throughout, to host events, to post things like questions of the week and are we met on Her stories so that people get warm fuzzies that people do really meet on this app. And yeah.
I love
it's a
that.
nifty little
What are
place.
some of the communities? Like, what are some of the names of the communities or your favorites?
My favorites, Recipes and Foodies. It's super cool. We get people sharing their family recipes and things like that. We have Good Vibes Only, which, as stated, it's memes, it's shit posting, it's GIFs, it's puns.
Incredible. Maybe this is controversial, but like, do you feel like now that Twitter is turning into a dumpster fire, that like the Her community is the place for all of us to go to
Oh my
for
God,
our
is
shit
that where we're all
posting,
supposed
for
to
our
go?
memes, for our like Twitter groups? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is an opportunity.
Absolutely. I was like, Because you know what? Every news story that comes out, it's like, what is content moderation? Why you should care about content moderation? Like, this has been my job for so many years. Come, my babies. I will protect you. We have guidelines in place. Please be our friend. We promise we do not function that way. And we also, verification on our app is free. You get a check mark for free. And you can keep it that way. So,
Incredible.
Shameless plug.
So when did you start working at her? How long have you been working in community?
Oh gosh. Okay, so officially and like with a paycheck and things, I've been employed for about a year and a half. I started on the review team, which every account that gets verified is verified through actual human people who match photos. So I started with that, moved to community manager. Those were both sort of part-time, and then got promoted to full-time, where I also answer support tickets. So if you email us, chances are it could be me answering your help questions. But I was a volunteer moderator for about 5 years on the app before I was an actual official employee.
Yeah, how long have you been like officially working there? Because we were saying before we started recording that like we had Robin on years and years ago.
And for those who don't know, Robin is the founder of her.
Thanks for context, Ellie.
Just because you're like, yeah, Robin. Everyone knows Robin.
I just got back from vacation and my brain is so slow right now.
To be fair,
so I know the app existed like before then. Timeline us.
I've been there about a year and a half.
Okay, cool.
And when I first joined as a moderator, it had already branded to her. Some folks might know it as Datch, which is what the app launched as many years
moons.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Many moons. I don't know how many specific moons, but it is a many.
Yes.
I know, and time is a meaningless void these days, so who knows?
Yeah. How have you seen, for us, most of our community is online through Let's Hang Out, right? We have a Discord chat for our patrons. Like, we host Zoom watch parties, like, because I feel like depending on where you live, most queer people don't have a significant amount of other queer people that they like know where to find, right? I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, how do I find another queer person? And like, let's figure that out. So how have you seen like the online aspect of that help people who might not be able to find that queer community in person?
If you're like me, you Google lesbian apps and you download the first one that comes up, and then you work there.
Is this like the career equivalent of U-hauling? We need a term for that.
Very much.
What do you call that? We need a new name. It's like we had screw hauling for
Office
like when you
maxing.
move in just to have sex more often. We need like the job equivalent. I don't know what you call it yet.
Well, we will find something. I promise you.
Come up with it, and I'll endorse your puns.
Okay, great. We'll make a new shirt, Ellie.
Yes. But like, who are the users that types of users that you feel like most need this online community?
Honestly, like you said, folks that I don't want to say don't have any other option, but don't have, if you live in a metro city, you take for granted that there's drag shows and queer nights and potlucks, but if you're in the middle of nowhere in, Alabama or Alaska or something, you certainly don't have those options, and there's more people around you than you think there are. And, apps like this can help you find that. You might think you have no community, but there's pockets. And if there's not online, I think through COVID, we all know that Zoom is better than nothing and text is better than nothing. So if you can feel that sense of attachment, get emotionally attached to people's posts. The more you see someone online, you know that they got engaged and now they're married, things like that. And you make your little queer online little nest of folks. And I really hope that we can give that to people.
Yeah. Do you have that? Like, do you have a bunch of online friends that you found through her?
I absolutely do. Being a moderator myself when I started early on, and now I am in charge of the moderators now, it's created a very weird friendship of these people that have been around me online moderating for so many years that now I know when things happen, I get birthday texts and things like that. But even just in the app, there are folks that I know from before I worked there that post consistently and share their life, share their struggles, and, maybe somebody goes away for a while and you're really excited when they come back. Like, yay, they sorted something out, they're back, it's exciting. And it's really
We've
cool
had
to
that
see.
experience in our Discord as well since we started it, where it's like, you get people who are like super active for a while, and then like I feel like it's a roller coaster, right? Like everyone's got life stuff, you've got more time, you've got less time, you've got like we have one of our Discord users, like she and her wife had their first baby, and there was definitely like a lull of that, like newborn phase, and then now starting to pop up more, and you're like, oh yay. It is crazy, like just the cycles.
Yeah.
Cycles
I mean,
that you go
also
through.
like in a weird way, Lee, like I feel like you're my online friend, which is hilarious. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I know. I mean, almost anytime I'm on my phone, like Kelsey's just like, "How's Ellie?" And I'm like, "Good."
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm like, we have met in person, but like the amount of interactions we have, like we have 90% of our interactions online.
I mean, more. I would say more than that. Yeah.
95.
Yeah.
And yet, like, I always say this, but I'm like, you're one of the most consistent relationships in my life for the past 6 years. Is like every single week I will talk to Lee, right? Like, and I feel like there's a lot of other people like that. Like, maybe they're not recording their conversations and they're just having them private. Maybe they don't publicize them to the whole world, but like,
Wow. Yeah. Who would do that? God. Like, who thinks they're that interesting?
Yeah, right. Crazy. But I feel like there's a lot of people who like some of their best friends are their online community. And like, I think it's awesome that we have this such an interconnected world that we can do that. And particularly with spaces like her, like you're talking about, that are very intentional about that. I mean, we have found each other for a very long time. Like before her had community spaces, like there were spaces that queer people would try to find each other online. Tumblr, or like even now, like people are like really into fandom because they find like that group of people who loves the same show that they do, and they can join a Facebook group or talk on Twitter, like live tweet the episodes. I don't know where I'm going with this, just that I love the fact that as queer people, if you don't have someone like directly next to you, like you still feel like you have those people. And I don't know, do you think that, I know everyone has that, right? Like everyone now in the world we live in has online friends. But do you feel like there's a difference in how the queer community creates that online community than like the rest of the heteronormative worlds?
From personal experience, absolutely. Pre her, I've actually never met face to face my online best friend from high school.
Yep.
And
sounds right.
We found each other on a different website, and we were going through some things, figuring out, am I gay? Am I bi? That sort of thing. And it was very easy to be like, oh, you're like me. Let me unpack all of my baggage and trauma. Oh, you still want to talk to me? Great. And that makes it so much easier. I feel like in the digital age, we're sort of quicker, good, bad, or otherwise, to sort of be like, this is what I'm about. And this is my issue. What's yours? Oh, cool. You still want to be that person? Let's talk. Whereas in person, you're like kind of hiding, and who are they? Who am I? And at least I won't throw anybody else under the bus, but for me, I'm just like making jokes I would never make in person, or maybe giving details I would never give in a first meet with somebody else online, because you sort of have that 1,000-mile distance between you. And to a less dramatic degree, I think that's how the queer community sort of functions in app. So in queer communities like her, like we have a movies and TV show community. So maybe you're watching The L Word, maybe you're watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and you make a post that says, who else hates this couple, or who else is rooting for this first kiss? And to get a dozen responses almost immediately of other people who feel that rage and or love with you, that in a way that only queers can, is great.
Yeah. Well, we consume media so differently, at the queer community, just in a general sense. I mean, okay, listen, Ellie's gonna hate me, but Just
All right, where's
since
this going?
Just since I started the episode with some Taylor
Oh, we're going
Swift
to Taylor Swift.
lyrics.
Okay, yeah, that's why we're talking. I'm like, okay, yes,
That's
you're
why.
right.
I'm sorry. It's just because I've had this conversation so much lately since Midnight's dropped that, like, it's always funny to me the experience of, like, listening to Taylor Swift music as a queer person when you talk to other queer people about it versus, like, talking to straight people where you're just like, wow, we're living in, like, two different universes right now. Like, we just we're on different planes. Like, there are totally separate things happening here that have nothing to do with each other, and it's fascinating to me. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna drag us down into the, like, Gaylor theories and all that, Elliot, but I just think that it's like we do connect to things differently, and I think that sometimes it's why, like, you know, we have plenty of straight friends, and, like, I mean, especially right now, like, having kids, like, we spend a lot of time with, like, other, like, straight couples and things like that, and it's like there are certain times where you try to get into, like, shows you're watching and things, and I'm just like, wow, I cannot talk to you about this, like, because I can't. I'm like, I need to give you, like, a primer on, like, what I'm even talking about and, like, what is happening, and that you don't have to do with other queer people. You know, like, they get your references, they get what you're talking about, they understand, like, the context of, yeah, like, the ships you ship or the things that happened in this show or the other shows that you're referencing. It's just, anyways, that was a long tangent to say that, but
No, it's a fascinating, like, thing. One of the most wild conversations I've ever seen in the movies and TV show community was about the show You on Netflix, about, like, the dude who stalks her.
yeah.
Very interesting to see half of the queer community be like, men, this is why men are a problem, and other people who are like, yeah, but he's cute, though. And to just watch it explode.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's highly controversial. Highly controversial.
Yeah, very much controversial in a way I did not anticipate. But
It's like when you watch people who don't watch House of Dragons. Like, I just saw someone posting that they were like,
What,
oh my
the
god,
incest?
yeah, they were like, I've been seeing all of these thirst traps about this couple and, like, all of these people who are, like, so, and the music and the this, and they were, like, totally into it. And then they were like, was nobody gonna tell me that, like, that's her uncle? Like, what the?
Yep.
It's fine. It's all fine, you know? So,
It's
yeah,
wild.
I mean, that happened.
Yes. Well, to go back to what you were talking about before a little bit, Lee, that we're still talking about, but, like, I also find that even though, like, at the beginning I was
Talk
sort
to
of
me
talking,
about Taylor Swift, Ellie.
I'm not talking about Taylor Swift.
You will, though.
In terms of community, I feel like even in a metro area, online community is still important. So it's like, I feel like it's not like an either or situation, right? First of all, like, just for topics that you might be interested in that, like, maybe, like, I mean, the reason me and Lee connected is because, like, when we started talking, the things we wanted to talk about, no one around us wanted to talk about. Like, it was like, okay, we want to talk about
Including
these-
my wife.
yeah. Like, we want to talk about this gay shit and no one wants to listen, but, like, we want to listen to each other so we can.
And then we
Yeah.
want, like, a couple other thousand people to
yeah, and then we
listen
want
to
more
us.
people to
Yeah.
listen to us. But my point is that, like, I just feel like, especially now when we know online community was all we had, I feel like now we're sort of shifting back into that part where, like, online and in person are both important. But, like, for me, I feel like online community has made a different impact post pandemic. I feel like it still has a place, is my point. Like, it still has a place.
absolutely. Like you said, it's not an either or. I know personally I had a lot of anxiety about going to gay bars and things like that. Even though I was out and I'm from Chicago, I'm in a pretty safe place to be queer. But in my head, they were so cliquey and judgy, and that's not any indication to them at all. That's all my own things, that it's a bar where everybody knows everybody, and they're going to know that I'm new, and oh my gosh, so it's easier for me to go online. Obviously, totally not the case. But for me, that's why online community was so important. And now through COVID, where, you have work from home, you have weddings on Zoom and things like TikTok and Be Real, where you're looking at media in so many different ways. And our digital events were an attempt to try to bring that closeness because we weren't doing the club nights. We weren't doing the queer dances and stuff that maybe some folks have been to. We were just trying to make it work and figure out what we could do. And people still show up and people still come to our digital events and still want to have that place to just sort of chill from their house, talk to people, and just be casual about it and not make a big deal. And I think that's amazing. I love being able to give that to people and to hang out with people without having to take a train.
What kind of digital events are you hosting? Because we did the same thing all through COVID. We were doing virtual trivia nights, and we have, well, this is forward, but we're going back to doing our virtual trivia nights again and finding that it's maybe a little bit different, but we still have certain trivia events that a lot of people want to come to. Like, so I'm just curious what types of events you're having and how that's been going.
Yeah, it was full of me playing around and sort of seeing what stuck and what people wanted to go to. We had a book club for a while at the height of COVID when people were sort of baking bread and reading things. That went really well. Our most popular events are speed dating. It's an hour long, and we use little icebreaker questions and things like that. Every round is 6 minutes. Some of them are open just to like everybody. Some of them are local. Some of them are more like identity or age based. We've been doing just hangouts of just, hey, I'm making a Zoom call. If you want to talk about anime, you should join the Zoom call and let's talk about that sort of a thing. We were doing movie nights until everybody got smart and stopped letting me stream them, where everything sort of got blacked out. But
Yeah,
I want to bring that
It's
back.
been a problem. We do watch parties with our patrons, and you got to get tricky sometimes.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can bring that back for the holidays. We had the most people and the most conversation around terrible queer Christmas movies. Or controversial queer Christmas movies.
Like which
We
ones?
don't know any of what you're
Never
talking
heard
about.
any of those.
No, never.
No.
They're all flawed.
Yes.
It's fine.
We know what you're talking about. Love it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we do the same thing. It's like, it's just so fun to watch a gay movie with a bunch of gay people. And like, really, you don't get to do that unless you go to like, I don't know, like a queer film festival maybe. But like, those happen few and far between and like in major metro cities, right? So otherwise you're just like sitting with your girlfriend or like alone watching a gay movie. So like, you know, otherwise I feel like doing a group watch party has been one of at least our most fun things to do with our listeners, for sure.
It's also something that we've sort of done at work at her. Once a month, we have a queer education meeting where somebody picks a topic and talks about queer stuff, whatever their know-how is, whatever topic that they feel strongly about. And one of the first ones, if not the first one we ever had, was watching Carol, because a coworker of ours found out that only a couple of us had seen it. So we all,
Good
as
for
a company,
them.
watched
How
Carol.
many
Yeah.
people work at her?
We're at a bit over 20 right now, full time.
So 20 queer people watching Carol. Sounds great.
That was
Count me
fantastic.
in.
20 angels flung out of space. Yes. Correct.
I'm curious about the speed dating. Do you have any like, because you said you write articles about like couples who have met through her. Are there any success stories from these virtual speed dating? Or you have some in person too?
Yes. We did have in-person speed dating pre-COVID. We have not gone back to that. Post-COVID, it's all online. We have not had any speed dating specific success stories that have come through my pipeline yet. So if you have met your person at one of our dating events, please email us. I would love to talk about it. But they work really well, and I always do a follow-up post because we use a third-party app to sort of host the game part of speed dating. And after every event, I'll make a post in the Her community so that, hey, if you just want to talk on Her, this is your chance. Like, comment below, people can find you. And we always get dozens of comments and little hearts and stuff. So stuff is going on. Things are happening.
Yeah.
They're just not emailing me about it.
Well, and I'm curious too because like I know, I mean, we you mentioned like Her originally launched under Datch, like had a different name, and it did start like much more heavily as a dating app, right? And then I feel like there's been kind of like a conscious effort, I think, to build up over the years since then as both, right? Like as a dating app and as a place to find community. And I'm curious, like when you're kind of doing both, like what has that looked like? Like what are the conscious choices? And then is it funny to see things where it's like your community event is also speed dating, right? Like I like how you kind of straddle like both of those.
That's exactly what happens. That people will connect while talking about a movie, and then you're like, oh, okay, I've accidentally created magic here. Like, this is fantastic. It's a really weird but very cool space to sort of play with both. And where that sort of gets the most interesting, we have an In Search of Friends community and an In Search of Love and Dating community. That's sort of a, if you like Pina Coladas style, personals kind of vibe to it. It's interesting to see those people who post in there, post their little, hey, this is my name, this is where I am sort of things, sit on that for a minute, and then wander into other communities. Like, well, as long as I'm posting in this one, I'll post to other things and see if people want to talk there. And it's really interesting to see, like, maybe the Love and Dating one isn't getting a super lot of traction, but you posted this opinion about, you know, this anime or whatever, and now, like, okay, now there's things happening. And you sort of see people warm up to talking to people, and it's very cool to see that people sort of harbor these friendships, that they hopefully move on to more than that, that you can see them start to get a little saucy back and forth before, you know, it goes to DMs and things like that. And it's very cool. It's very wholesome in a way that I can't always predict.
I find that so, like, there's no other word for it but gay. Because, like, I just feel like that's how queer people, for the most part, like, it's like, okay, you can take a queer person and put them on an online dating site, but, like, they're still dating like a queer person, right? Like, where I feel like in person, it's like, we were friends for 4 years, and then, like, eventually I was like, let me try to hold her hand while we're watching this movie, and now we're married. Like, so it's like sort of like interesting to see the social dynamics of that, of like, okay, like, I'm a little bit nervous to go like full out confident, like, I want to date you, but like, how about we figure out if we're friends and we'll test the waters here? Like, I find it so fascinating that it's like just so gay.
Has someone done like a sketch yet where they're like, you know, I don't know, like she swiped right on me and then messaged me first and like set up a date and now we've gone out, but like I don't know if she really likes me. So, like,
that's actually hilarious. Does Her have a TikTok? I'm sure. Do you have a TikTok?
We do.
Yeah,
We
that would
do.
be hilarious.
Someone please
TikTok
make that.
for her.
Make that TikTok.
Yeah. She swiped right. She slid into my DMs. She keeps liking all my comments on Community. Do you think she's interested?
Yeah.
It's wild how much it happens, and like even my DMs, most of them are people who see my bio that I work there and have like tech support questions or whatever. But
they ask tech support questions. Are they into me? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are you flirting with me or do you have Wi-Fi problems? But like the last genuine DM I got, they had posted, "What's the worst movie you've ever seen? I can top it." And so I posted a terrible like C-list horror movie, and she DM'd me and she's like, "If you liked this, unironically, you should watch these other terrible campy awful horror movies. And I did. And they were amazing in like the worst way. And so I messaged back and she was like, yeah. And that's how our conversation started, because she was weirdly aggressively like, I've seen worse movies than you. And it worked.
Great line. Great pickup line. I know the worst movies. No, I know the worst movies. I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's the way to go on a dating app, is to like really just like niche down onto like what you love and care about. And like if she had DM'd somebody else like something that and they didn't answer, then like that's not your person. Like that's not your people. So you're fine. You just said something like completely off the walls. And if people respond in the right way, then like that's the correct person. If they don't respond, like goodbye. That's it.
And like I was flattered. Like you took the time to assess my horrible movie and went, wait, this means you like these sort of themes. And did I mention it's a musical? And I was like, oh, okay.
Wait, also, what's the suggestion?
Yeah, no, now we're like so invested.
I'm trying to find it.
Is this
now,
girl trash?
Now you hit the keywords for Ellie and I, and we're like, tell
musical?
us more.
Horror
Tell us
musical?
about it. Musical horror.
Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead.
What?
It's a terrible horror musical
I'm in.
comedy all in one.
I'm in.
Wow. One of my
Poultrygeist, yeah.
Okay,
Like,
we'll do a watch party, Ellie.
Oh my God. When I was younger, like that was like a thing for my dad where he would be like, let's go to the movie, like go to Blockbuster, because you know what year this was.
Sure.
Go to Blockbuster and look up. We have no clue what this movie is about, but we find the stupidest title and we just get it. And we just watch it. And we watched this movie called Ginger Dead Man that I will never forget. It's like a murderous gingerbread man. And it was horrible and great.
Now, for
That's
the
the
kids
shit.
out
I
there,
live-
Blockbuster was a big building with a glowing sign on the front, and you would go and rent these little black boxes that played movies.
Do we think, like, you know how like things always like go in cycles? Like eventually it's gonna be like Netflix to open up brick and mortar shops where you can shop.
Oh my
for
God.
DVDs.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
The same way.
I just bought a cassette.
Did you really? That's incredible.
Yeah.
The same way that we're like slowly reinventing cable on itself, right? Where we're like, there's so many streaming services. What if somebody just bundled them all together? And you're like, yeah, I already pay $200 a month for that. It's fucking cable. And we don't ever watch it, and my wife hates me and wants to get rid of it. But then every 4 years, I'm like, the Olympics are on, and I want to watch them. So this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
What are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
What do the Olympics stream on? Then you just buy like a month
I know,
subscription
it's
to that.
NBC though, and like, who wants that?
Oh, Peacock is a
Yeah.
great streaming service. I have it.
Do you really?
I do.
Hopefully not a sponsor.
No. Peacock.
Cut to
This episode
commercial.
sponsored by Peacock.
Cut to an ad.
No, I just got it because I love
Who wants
I
that?
love 30 Rock
We're
and I
sponsored.
love Parks and Rec. and
I
they're
just
all
bought
on.
the Parks and Rec
Yeah,
DVDs.
but, you know.
Like, that's easier.
We're spiraling.
I
But,
know.
I want to talk a little bit.
Or like how Uber keeps trying to reinvent buses. They're like, do you want a giant Uber that's like shared by a bunch of people and has a set route? And you're like, no, it's a bus. Just
Incredible.
invest in public transportation in your local area. What is happening?
Private public transportation. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yes. No, that's literally what they do. They just keep trying to invent it where they're like, do you want public transportation but only for rich people? And I'm like, no.
No.
No, I don't.
All right, but to wrap back in.
Sorry, queer community. Where were we?
Yeah. So we were just talking about how the gays are so bad. Like, will not think that anyone's hitting on them until it's like 10 years later and they've finally given them the clues. But
We got married 3 years ago. Is she into me?
Is she still into me? Yeah. I want to talk a little bit. This is not really relevant, but I'm just going to switch us over. I know it might not be as common right now because we're still slowly heading back into in-person events. But I just want to talk about that like connection between the two. Like, there's also like online community on her, but is there a section of her that like advertises public events, right? Where like people could see like, oh, there's a drag show near me, or there's like a lesbian night at this bar, stuff like that. Like the merging of the online sort of like for like that finding things and then like you go in person and actually do the thing.
Our events section in app does do digital and local events. Lately, post-pandemic, these aren't necessarily things that Her is putting on, but are things that maybe coworkers are doing or things that we just think will be popular. Pride especially. I was putting as many Pride events in as many cities as I could possibly find. But if things come through our way, or if users let us know, like, hey, did you hear about this event? That goes to me, and I'll put it in there for that exact reason. We also, during Pride, we did a Her meetup, where, like, if you buy your ticket to this event in New York, we're going to be at this bar. Come on over, say hi. Like, you don't want to go to that event alone, that's okay, we'll go with you. Like, we'll all move from the bar to the event together so that it's awkward for all of us. And so we're focusing on digital, but we absolutely put other things. And if I can highlight things like Chicago does a non-binary film night, I think once a month. If we have, queer people of color, artist galleries, things like that, things that aren't necessarily as widely publicized or as known about. Like, those are the sort of things I gravitate
I love that.
to.
I also love, I don't know, I just feel like there's this central theme of, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening can relate, of like, there's a social anxiety that comes from being like the only queer in a space, right? I mean, you even talked about like, I'm nervous to go to a lesbian bar because like, what if I show up there and like nobody talks to me? So like, I also feel like it's just nice that it feels as though Her is trying to be intentional about helping those people feel more comfortable.
Absolutely.
Like,
we
yeah.
want folks to embrace the community around them. We want people to feel safe. We want them to feel like they have folks on their side because we are on your side. Doesn't matter if, you're in your 60s and just figuring it out, or if you're a little baby gay who just turned 21 and wants to hit all the clubs imaginable. We want you to find your people. We want you to be safe and have your people and have fun and, just hang out and meet folks and find true love.
Just a few little things. Those beautiful.
Little things.
Yeah, one
Beautiful.
or two.
It's fine.
It is funny though. It's like living in the world we live in now, right? Where you can do that. You can do the like, oh, I'm going to post on this thing. I'm on this app. I'm in this community. I have this niche thing. Where it's like, is it just me? Do you ever just think back like, hey, can you imagine like 30, 40 years ago, like not even just being queer. I'm just like, how did people used to make friends? Like, because I'm the same way, man. I'm like, listen, like the idea of just like going to a new bar like by myself where I like didn't know anyone, like without any friends, and just being like, I'm in a new city. I just moved here and I'm just gonna like go and meet people. I'm like, that nope. Just nope. I'm like, I would just be sitting there sadly with a little drink by myself being like, somebody talk to me. And like, I don't know. I'm like, there's just something that's really nice about like for people who are comfortable in those spaces, like amazing, bless you, and like are able to just sort of like navigate life like that. Like, looking at you, Ellie.
I know. It's like, who?
Looking at you.
Take me to the bar any day of the week.
But it's also just like, I don't know, it's just so nice having like options. Like we just have options now, of like if you are comfortable putting yourself out there, you can. If you like need some extra support, help, community, if you're just like feel more comfortable being like, I can type to people, great. Like, I don't know, we just have so many options. I just don't know how anyone lived without technology, I think, is the answer.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like the online community is definitely like a huge, huge help for introverts. Because like the world was not adaptable, like was not adapting to introverts prior to online community, right? It was just like, oh, figure it out. Like that's why you have all these like, people will be like, so like there's all these articles about like introverts how to make friends. Like how about an article about like extroverts, like stop talking to me or something. But like, you know, like I think it's like that thing too, where it's like prior to this, yeah, it was just not as
No, it was
easy.
all like, here's how to have a firm handshake when you go out.
How to make friends and influence people. Blah blah blah. Be a man.
Right.
But
have you tried being a cis
History in a
straight white
nutshell.
man?
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, I do feel like even, I mean, in the past 30 years, but even in the past 4 or 5 years, like things have shifted, which is great. Do you have any like favorite moments or like memories from the past year and a half, like from your groups or from like any sort of community events you've hosted?
You know what? I will say our 40 plus community is amazing. They're so active and so supportive, and like they exchange recipes, and like if somebody has a problem like I can't get my washing machine to work, like people will help and troubleshoot it and stuff in a way that's very cool to me. But they actually do meetups. They organize them themselves. And they've met each other and driven out to each other. They post pictures like, hey, guess who I saw, or guess who I flew out to see. And like, that's amazing.
That's
I love
so
that
cute.
energy. It's so wholesome. It's so cute. Post-pandemic, it makes my heart so happy that anybody is outside and doing things, hopefully safely. So moments like that, or people will post sort of casually without like filling out our survey and making it technical, of like, after 9 months of messaging, she said yes, and post like a picture of them on a date.
Yes.
And like those moments
I love
are
it.
why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And we love to see it. It's
Really
it's great.
Like, I cannot stress enough to all, like, everyone listening, like, how much we do love to see it, because it's like same thing. Like, we have a couple people, like a couple listeners who, I mean, like, obviously there's like our Discord community, and like it just, those people fill us with joy. But we also have people who just like message us a lot, like people who will kind of, you know, like message like Instagram DMs and stuff like that. And like some of those where you start, you know, you'll get like the new photo and there's like a girl in it, and you're like, yay, like hooray, hooray, you found somebody. And it's just like, yeah, like we're here for it, we're invested. Like I don't know, I feel like that's Ellie and
that's
I
exactly
yeah,
like,
like,
I can't imagine like working at a dating app and being like, okay, so there's literally so many people that I can be like, I ship you, then I
yes.
ship you. Incredible.
It's the investment. Like, I genuinely, if you post that you are 4 years sober, I genuinely want to hype you up.
Yeah.
If you post that you're married, I genuinely am so happy for you. Like, and so do the people in the community. Like, we want those happy moments. We want to share that with you. We want to celebrate you. We want to give you that place. I'm so happy and honored that you feel that you have that space where you can share that with us. Like, that means the world to me, and I love
We're
to
here
see
for
it.
the
Ellie's
gonna
going to quit the podcast and go work at her now.
I know. I was like, that sounds like a great job. I'm here for it. I am here for it. There's one question that like is like so ridiculous, but I just want to ask. I just have this in my mind. So, you know, on like straight dating apps, let's call every dating app that's like not her a straight dating app, but on other dating apps, there's like, I have some straight women friends who like, they're swiping through and there's like this man who's holding a fish, right?
Every
You know,
man.
like,
Do you mean every man?
yeah, like that's,
Every
like,
man,
that's,
every
like,
man
their
is
thing,
holding.
right?
Why
Like,
are they all holding
they're all
fish?
holding a fish, right? What do you think is the queer equivalent of a man holding a fish? Like, what are the pictures that you
Ooh,
see
that's
most often?
Good question.
On, I just think that's like hilarious.
That's such a good question. Oh, like, because it's so true. Like, that's perfect commentary on how swiping is. The one I see probably consistently the most is the out for like date night, night on the town, over the shoulder. Like, this is my outfit, probably some sort of neon light Instagram-y wall sort of situation, or fairy lights or something, of just like, I go out and I do things and I'm fabulous. There's a lot of that. And they always look amazing, but like it's, and also beaches, always with the beaches. Hiking. There's a lot of hiking.
Yeah, that's what I was like, is it like, I don't know, like with my skateboard or something? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what are the Or like,
I
do
know,
a lot of people take like a pride flag pic? They're like wrapped in their flag. I don't know.
Well, and it's funny because neither
I haven't been on a dating app in a
I know
long
you,
time.
neither
I'm
you
like,
and I are
how
on
do you
dating
know
apps.
pictures?
I'm trying to come up with like what my guess would have been just based on like mine would all be based on like what happens in like the TikTok thirst traps that like you can't get away from. I feel like my guess would just be like tank top pictures. Like I feel like lesbians are super
snapback still a thing? Like, am I showing my age? Like, I don't know.
It is flannel season, so holding a pumpkin
Yeah.
is a vibe right now.
Or like a picture with their cat. Or like it's just the cat. Like it's
Just
no
the
picture of their face. It's just the cat. Like, I'm just curious. I don't know. What listeners, let us know. Like, what are the like?
Send us
what are
your
the, what are
send
the
us your dating app
archetypes you
photos
see
because
when you're
we're
swiping.
not on the apps. We need to know what they are.
Yeah, I just need
Right?
to know what they are.
Yeah.
And let us know if they're successful.
Yes.
Because if maybe you change your photos and you're like, well, ever since I'm
since
holding
you
a
did,
fish.
yeah. Actually, is it just women holding fish? Like, is that somehow?
I don't know that I've
better?
ever seen a fishing photo on her. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I don't know that I've ever seen that picture.
Listen, also
I see
like
it so clearly in my mind.
Shouldn't fish be our thing? Like you'd think no.
You're
just-
right. Men,
mean-
stop taking our fish. I don't know.
Can
I'm
I
just
tell
so-
you, this is the stupidest story, Ellie, but I'm gonna tell it anyways. So I mentioned I was just on vacation. My wife and I took our kids to Hawaii, and we went out for dinner on like our last night there, and just got like a nice dinner. And I ordered. I mean, it's Hawaii. Like fish is like all you eat. But I ordered this fish on the last night we were there, and it was. I think it might actually be the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. It was incredible. But all I could think the whole time, Ellie was like, "You look like a woman who appreciates fish," and I was just like, "I am that woman.
You are that woman.
I do. I am appreciating this." But anyways, it was really good. It was really good fish.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm reliving the fish, and it was incredible.
It sounds great. Well, next time I'm in Hawaii, I will get some fish.
I will tell you where to. I would tell you like go here and order this fish. It was that good.
I'll do it. I've actually
Okay.
never been to Hawaii, but the first time I go to Hawaii.
Oh my
I'll
God, let's go.
We'll go.
Okay.
So, Jill, before we wrap up and get into our Q&A, is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about the Her community?
I think that folks should just know that even if you think it's not a space for you, you're probably wrong. We support trans folks, we support non-binary folks, questioning folks, gender fluid folks, the asexual community. We have a community just for you. If you're not sure, if you're figuring it out, if you're even thinking about it, we're here for you. We'll help you figure it out. We want to see you, comfortable with yourself, with others, with the community around you. And it's more than just a lesbian dating app, I promise. There's more to it than that, and there's more folks on it than that.
Love it.
Love that. Thank you for that. I think I remember when we talked to Robin, this was years ago, that Her had already started, like, when you created your profile, there were like 35 different genders or something like that you could choose from. Like, I know that Her has been very intentional about being open to
absolutely.
all members of our community.
You can also write in custom answers on your profile. So if we don't have something that quite speaks to you, it's an open text field. You can write it yourself and express yourself the way that you want to, the way you need to. And we respect that. We admire that. We want to know about that so that we can add it to make it more inclusive. But yeah, we have tons of profile options, tons of communities, events that go for all sorts of folks. We have a bisexual hangout tomorrow when we're recording this. It won't be tomorrow when you're listening to this. But there's so much more.
I love
And
that.
we try to be very intentional to make sure that anybody under the queer rainbow, there's a spot for you.
I love how I said we're going to go to our Q&A, but I want to talk about something else. You want to talk about something else on that later?
I was just gonna say I feel like that's so good too, because I know like we hear from like a lot of listeners who like found the podcast and will write to us to say how like they just don't have a lot of community around them, or like they're still in high school or in college and like haven't really been able to like settle down somewhere and like find their people and find their community. And so it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so great to make like to have those people know that it's like this is an option, like this is out there, and there are like, you know, there are spaces like this, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
And also, there are folks in relationships in the community too, so don't let the dating part scare you. There's plenty of folks who are happy and married and things and hang out just to be around their people and get that sense of community.
I love that. I also would just love to like double down on the asexual community, because I feel like that's great too, right? It's like, okay, you have a space for, can you talk a little bit more about that? Like about that community specifically?
Absolutely. That was actually one of the first things I did as community manager is I started 2 new communities. One of them is music and podcasts, and the other one was asexual, because coming through support, coming through just being a moderator, we had tons of folks from ACE folks, from Arrow folks, who were posting in other communities, but they all came from this place of, I know I don't quite fit here. I know I maybe shouldn't post here. They all had that hesitancy that like broke my heart, because post where you need to post. And it was just, it hurt my heart. And I was like, I need to give these folks a space. We already had trans communities, non-binary communities, lesbian, bisexual. And it was so important to me to give asexual folks and folks on the ACE spectrum sort of a place to go. And like you said, there's context. Like, ACE folks gonna ace. Like, they don't have to explain things to the rest of the planet. If they don't feel like it, they can come to this community, know there's other folks like them, and just sort of let go and meet people, vent, ask advice, things like that.
Love it. Yeah, I just love how intentional her has been. Also, you specifically, since starting, clearly have been really intentional. So I think that's awesome.
I appreciate that. It's something that, you know, it's really important to me. And even among moderators, like, how can you have asexual people on your team in your life and then not create a space for them, you know, to thrive and find each other? So always working, always a work in progress, but always trying to be as inclusive and big of a community as possible.
I love that. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to share a bunch of those like individual communities on our socials so people know, because I'm sure that people don't even know that those exist, and they should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, on that note,
Is it time, Ellie?
Let's go into our Q&A. I'm so ready for this.
Q and gay.
Question number 1. What's your favorite kind of queer event? A, dance party. B, trivia. C, speed dating. Or D, drag show?
That's such a good question. I'm going to say drag show. I'm going to go D, because COVID made me event starved, and it's been too long since I've been to a drag show.
So true.
And drag kings are having a moment, especially in places like New York and London. Like, they're popping. Good for them.
Okay, question 2. Do you prefer A, online community, B, in-person community, or C, both?
I think a healthy answer is both, but for my introverted self, online, definitely.
There's no wrong answers here.
I met my partner on the internet before it was cool. So my heart is on the interwebs. But I do think it's good to get out and, you know, see people, do things in person. So healthy balance, but skewed much more.
We'll allow it.
Understandable. You're like, my entire job is pretty much online community, so I'm gonna skew there.
Which is why it's nice to not be on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Just be like, if I look at my phone one more time, my head's gonna explode.
Makes sense. Question number 3, which you sort of already answered, but I don't know if it was a dating app. Did you meet your partner on a dating app? A, yes, B, no, or C, not yet?
No, it was a social media site that is now defunct, but we did
LiveJournal. Tell me it was LiveJournal.
It was not. It was Vampire Freaks.
Oh,
which
wow.
was a goth
I would not
MySpace
have guessed
situation.
that next. Let's be real.
They still exist as a store and stuff, but their social community has shut down.
That's awesome that was ever a thing. I did not know about that, but that seems amazing.
Bring it
It
back,
was
Ellie.
based on,
Bring it
like,
back.
industrial music, and then like sort of there was like horror roleplay cults, and like they called groups cults because of course they did. So there were like movie groups and like horror groups and music
Movie
groups
cults.
and things like that.
And horror cults.
Yeah, movie
Yeah, yeah.
cults and horror cults. Yeah.
I love it.
Amazing.
Naturally.
Okay, question 4. What's your favorite kind of lesbian profile pic on a dating app? Out of A, pride pic, B, sports team pic, C, pic with their ex cropped out, or D, professional headshot?
Sports all day, every day, because I am the most unathletic human being on the planet, and I'm just jealous that you are good enough at a thing to be on a team. Like, that's admirable.
Can't go
to
wrong.
me.
Can't go
No,
wrong.
not
We
at
all love a girl in a jersey. Come on.
Or lesbian with a fish. Let us know. Have you seen like there's those TikTok videos of like those girls who like draw like little like mustaches on themselves and they pretend to be dudes and they're like, oh, like she's a 6 but she whatever. I don't know if you've seen those, but that's what I envision. It's like those girls with mustaches and a fish.
And a fish.
Yeah. All right. Question number 5. Where do you find queer community? A, dating apps, B, social media, C, bars, or D, events?
Personally, for me, it's that online community all day, every day. Dating apps, personally, obviously I'm biased, but even before I worked there, that's where my people were. But events can be so much fun and can be such... I'm always surprised. I'm always like, I hate events. I don't want to go. And then I always have the best time and then I forget. So my answer is dating apps, but somewhere in my psyche, somewhere, my brain would probably argue with you.
Nice. Great answers. Remember, you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Les Hangout Pod. Jill, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to talk about community. I can do it all day, every day, and I do. So thank you for giving me a spotlight to do that. I appreciate it.
If people do want to keep talking to you about it, let our listeners know where can they find you, and then where can they also find and sign up on Her.
Absolutely. The Her store is available both on Android and Apple, so you can find both in the Play Store. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Her social app. My personal handle is JoSul. I sometimes talk about gay shit. Mostly it's me looking at my garden and posting food pictures. But if you find that sort of thing delightful, go for it.
Nice.
Love it. So you heard it here, listeners. Sign up for Her. Check out the community apps. Let us know what you think. Jill, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
And thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you. We love continuing to build this community, and we just like to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. Starting with, we want to shout out one of our patrons, Silver Rose Wolf, who tweeted at us with a book recommendation about Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and the sequel to it, the name of which I am blanking on. But I've had Delilah Green Doesn't Care on my, what's it called? On the app.
Kindle?
Yeah, like TBR list, but it's also like on my list at our library. Like we use our library's app and like borrow ebooks and stuff. So it's been on there for a while. I'm just on hold waiting for it. So I'm excited. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And please send us more book recs if you've got them. We're always interested.
Also want to give a shout out to Christina Jennings, who reached out to us on Instagram, said that they recently found the podcast and they're obsessed. Thank you for making it. Thanks, Christina. But also recommended Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion for Should Have Been Gay. Have you seen that movie, Lee?
I have, but God, not in a while.
That movie is absolute chaos, and I agree.
Done.
I feel like it's a great Should Have Been Gay. We're adding it to the list. Thank you for the recommendation. As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Tanya Ferguson,
Sarah and Julia,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
A.D. Benitez,
Fiona W.,
and Sophia Phillips.
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Leah Hendley,
Andrea Doucette,
and Julia Gonzalez. Thank you all so much. We could not continue making the podcast without your support and the support of all of our patrons.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
Or you can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. That way you'll get new episodes as soon as they go up every week.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
Let's Hang Out is an independently produced show. It's hosted by us. Our audio production is done by Ellie. Our production assistant is Krista Murison. And various other graphics and Twitter shenanigans are by me.
If you want to support the podcast, you can rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We love hearing what you have to say, and it helps new people find the show.
If you want to join our Patreon, you get access to ad-free episodes, our patron-only Discord chat, Les Essentials viewing parties, all sorts of other good stuff. You can find that at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want to get some Let's Hang Out merch, you can get that at bit.ly/lesshop. We have all kinds of tees, tanks, totes, and mugs. You're going to find the perfect gay thing on there at bit.ly/lesshop.
Remember, we also have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings that you can find everywhere at Dollar Bean Prod.
Or at our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can listen to all the episodes of our first show, The Flame, on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon. If you want to find us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? I'm making
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.